Good day, and welcome to the second episode of Celebrate Business TV. I started yesterday with number one, and today number two. And one and two are my two favorite people in the whole world to live stream with, and especially to talk business. And today's guest is Barbara Weltman. And Barbara, I have my own thing of what I call you, Barbara. I call you the number one small business taxes author, AUTHOR /ITY, author authority. Barbara is the go-to source on information about small business taxes. The SBA calls her, SCORE calls, everybody calls Barbara to see what's going on, what's the pulse beat, what are we going to, and Barbara and I've been very blessed. Barbara and I have been streaming on the internet this is our 14th year. We've gone through a lot of technologies, and our passion, Barbara's and mine, and she taught me, you're my mentor on all this stuff. Small business information. Between the two of us, we distribute lots and lots and lots of small business information. So when we celebrate business, I could not think of a better person to have to talk about it than Barbara Weltman. Barbara, welcome. And
well, thank you.
Thank you for all the years of service.
Thank you. I feel blessed that I can do this.
And as I was saying, is there anybody living that celebrates business more than you do, because you actually celebrate it every single day of your life?
Well, this is true. I put out an idea of the day every day.
I got a photocopy of today's. Let me tell you something I've never said to you before either.
Yeah.
I have archived every single one of these since
I
started.
You and me both.
Well, I knew you did, but I have 14 years of archiving 365 days a year. I got a million big ideas for small business. Wow, Barbara does this every day, and I used to read it at 4:00 in the morning. Now I don't read it till after 9 o'clock, 9:01, 9:02.
We got complaints from people that it was going out a little too early. So
yeah, 4 o'clock was too
4 o'clock was too early for some people. So
it was perfectly time for me, Barbara. So
yeah, for me too. But I had to be sensitive. So it's still early.
And it's interesting. Today's column, and you and I have not had a discussion about our conversation. Top Googled business questions in 2022.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty interesting.
Well, it was extremely interesting, and it's kind of what a lot of the stuff that you and I are all about. So I'm wondering how many times people Google. They probably get to you before they get to me. That's today's column, and you probably plan these things out a month in advance, or I don't know how long.
I have to do a couple of days in advance so that my assistant can post everything. Yeah.
So Barbara does big ideas, but also this is a sneak. See
I love it.
It's going to be the only thing that changes, isn't it, from the cover?
No, the cover will also have in the little blurb, it will say including changes from the Inflation Reduction Act.
Well, yeah, right down there.
Yeah.
That box.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of joking. Barbara has had this book published 25 years in a row, 26?
More. Yeah, I lost, but it's more than 25 years.
And every November, Barbara, when the book traditionally is released, you told me it's not going to be till December this year.
December 1, but it's already, I mean, it's at the printer. So it's.
So can we have a discussion on December 1?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it. How much? We've never done it on the day, the release date.
Let me see. December 1. Okay.
We will. Well, this is a sneak peek, and just about the book, real quickly. Um, there's a lot of information. Too much information for David to absorb. Accountants, CPAs love the book. They can't wait till it gets to their desk. So it's an update from last year's tax codes. Barbara gives the code. She gives an example, and she gives a case study or something you can relate to. And as I tell folks, my favorite way to read this book is to keep it close at hand. And when I need a break, I just open it up. And I guarantee you the information that you get on any page that you open it up is worth the price of the book. I guarantee it. So how valuable is this thing? The other wonderful thing. Well, you want to talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the edition that's on the press now.
The new edition reflects the laws that were enacted this year, and the IRS guidance and court cases that came down, and there are some significant changes. Most of the pandemic provisions are gone. We don't have those breaks anymore. We don't have those rules anymore. And so we're kind of living in a post-pandemic era, and businesses have to kind of adjust to what's going on now. And
Right.
I have to say one other thing is that we're not done with tax changes for 2022, because Congress is likely to come up with some more changes. They have a continuing budget resolution to December 16th. And from history, usually we get some consolidated or omnibus package that includes tax changes. So there are, for example, a number of rules that had expired at the end of 2021. They're not in place for 2022. We could get extenders, as we have year after year. Some of the provisions are set, for example, some of the rules are set to change or have changed for 2022, and people aren't happy about them. For example, research and development costs, in the past, you could elect to expense them, but a new rule in effect for this year requires you to amortize them, spread out your deductions over no less than 5 years. People aren't happy with that, so they want Congress to go back to the old rule. Another change we have it for 2022, if you buy certain equipment or make certain improvements to your business, you can expense them using 100% bonus depreciation. It's set to decline to 80% next year and continue declining, and a lot of people want it to stay at 100%. So there are a lot of tax rules, and then there are other tax breaks that haven't made it into legislation thus far, and who knows? So stay tuned. and that's why I put out a supplement, an online supplement.
I was going to get to that. Well, you it that way, but you said something kind of interesting that a lot of people didn't like it. So when the IRS creates the guideline, they put it out to a test audience to Congress folks, or
no? These are rules enacted by Congress. So Congress has to change.
You say they put it out. A lot of people don't like it, so they go back to the drawing board. How they put it out? Congress.
Well, people know about it. Tax pros and some savvy business people will be watching this. They'll know about it, and then they'll speak up, and that's what happens.
That'll bring you into the deal, and you'll clean it up real quick. The other thing that Barbara did really, really neat, and this goes back 2 years, and when 2020 hit and the country got closed down pretty much, and people were jockeying for positions, and people were in their homes, and they were doing what they used to do in an office. They're doing it in their homes now, and they're saying, wow, I like operating out of my home, and I'm doing it for the man. Maybe I should be doing it for myself. So Barbara very smartly, very early, came out with the startup guide. So how do you start up a business in your home. Now, I don't know if she realized how impactful this book really was. This is the finest startup guide that I have ever seen, and I've seen a lot of them, and a lot of them are this thick. Okay, Barbara brilliantly created checklists and questions. And I had to tell her, because remember, you didn't even know how many questions you had in there. She
That's right.
has 200 plus questions in her checklist. If you go through her checklist chapter by chapter, and she explains the chapter, and then the questions obviously relate to the chapter. If you go through this chapter by, and there's only 120, under 125 pages. If you can go through that list, check it off yes, and maybe what percentage of yeses do they have to check off before they should take the next step?
Well, I don't know. It's just a question that you better start thinking about it for sure.
Well, and the reason I asked that, just yesterday, David and I talked about, he just came out with a LinkedIn posting, and it was crazy. It was the 10 reasons small businesses fail. And I'd never seen anything like, and it actually was in one of his books, and I missed that page. But we talked, and I looked at it, I said, isn't this interesting? And let's talk about it, because you use some words here and so I never heard him say businesses fail. I had never heard him say that. So I argued that, well, maybe they didn't fail. Maybe they weren't as successful as they were supposed to be. But the concept of failure is one reason why a lot of people who maybe should go into business don't. They're afraid to fail. But
Yep.
I say,
I wrote a book about that. Smooth failing.
there you go. And you've written a second edition to it, right?
No, I just, yes, I kind of, it originally was supposed to be completely online, and then we did a print edition.
Okay, you folks, you're hearing all these books. Go to Amazon.com, search for Barbara Weltman, and you'll get the list of books that you should buy. Well, anyways, if you're thinking about starting a business, or even if you want to evaluate where your business is today, or things you should be thinking about today that maybe you missed. David said one reason why businesses fail is they go too fast. They don't stop and look at the 200 things that they need to look at before they start. He said that's the biggest reason for failure. Well, Barbara, is there anybody in this country that celebrates business more than you do? Okay, I did want to ask you though, when was it in your life that you started to celebrate business? Did you grow up in a household where?
Yes, I did. So my dad owned a small business. He owned a machine shop, and we had dinner when he came home from work every day, and we talked about business, and I heard about business at the the table, and the ups and downs of it.
Well, I had my father, and also my grandfather, my maternal grandfather. He had a couple businesses. My father had a couple small businesses. My grandfathers were larger, but we grew up with business in our veins, kind of, didn't we? And maybe that's why we do the things that we do today, because we celebrate business. We love business. Oh, so when in your professional career, or in your studies, your academic studies, how did that go? And then you made decisions on which directions you wanted to go in life.
Well, I went to law school, and I practiced law, and I had most of my clients were small businesses.
There you go.
So I cultivated that and helped them incorporate, do buy-sell agreements, do estate planning, and that sort of thing. And all of my clients came through word of mouth and referrals, and that's how I did it. And then after many, many years, and my kids were grown and out of the house, I said, I really kind of didn't want to do that anymore. And I was able to use what I learned through all my years of work to create information that I could share with small businesses through the internet. I mean, it was kind of, here was the internet, and here was my interest in doing this, and it was great to do it in that way.
There's fake news, and then there's Barbara Weltman news. Take your choice. And I do know, you have at least one child that has a business. I don't know about your other.
Both. They both have.
There you go. So
Yep.
that's
January. Yep.
that's how it goes, and that's even more reason to celebrate, because it's such an important part of our lives, and it's why we are who we are, because of taking the and my father, in the last face-to-face conversation I ever had with my father, he was very upset. He said, "Why don't you just do what you're supposed to do and go to law school?" Actually said that to me, and I had wanted to go to law school. There was a big reason why I didn't, but I had wanted to go that direction. And he went in, and I said, "Well, Dad, this is da 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 da." And he went in, and he got on the phone, and he made a connection with a publisher. My father was publishing the Jewish periodical in our home community. He found one in North Carolina who was publishing. The guy needed somebody. He said, and the next day, I went down to Charlotte, North Carolina, and left, entering the publishing industry and going side by side with my father. It was just the most beautiful thing that we were doing the same thing in different markets. And later, Barbara, he got me involved in publishing. He passed away 12 months after that. So he knew what he was doing. And so that's why that's why we do what we do. I just tied it all together. Thank you for helping me tie it all together. And that's why I'm so blessed to have Barbara Weltman as a friend, because we
kind of get it. That's it.
Kind of get it. Kind of
get it.
Well, and that's why my expertise is marketing and sales. That's all I know. And I made this analogy yesterday. Dave is very conceptual. You're day-to-day practical. It's what we do. Taxes are an everyday thing. They're always there. And so I've got a great group of folks, and we celebrate business, and we invite you to join our community. Okay, Barbara, thank you for your time.
You bet.
I can put December 1 down.
You can put December 1 down. Everybody's welcome. You can. People can
We'll go about the same time again, or noon, or.
That's good. 11 is good, and people can pre-order the book. The pre-orders are going very well already. So
they go to Amazon
Amazon and pre-order. Yeah.
Do you know what it's retailing for this year?
No, I don't.
Because I used to say the $22.95 that folks pay.
But it's less on Amazon.
Well, that's what I paid. Well, I had to rush down to the bookstore because you and I were talking in the hour, and I didn't. And another statement I say: if in fact you pay whatever it is, even if it's $25, if you pay what it is and you don't feel you're getting your money's worth, you contact me. I will make it happen. I will make sure that you get your money's worth for it. Barbara, thank you.
Thank you.
And have a great day. And
you too.
We'll talk, if not sooner, December 1.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.